Welcome to the Lifestyle Medicine Clinic. This is Dr. David Drozik asking, are you ready for health? Our session today is entitled Sleep Soundly. If you're finding us on YouTube, I would encourage you to go to our website, thelifestylemedicineclinic.us, where you can find this video in context, where you will find other helpful resources available in the sidebar and elsewhere on the website. This is one of a series of 8 videos on lifestyle medicine. Our featured recipes of this week are, first, hummus. This is a healthy hummus that you can make at home quickly and easily. The ingredients include garbanzo beans or chickpeas. You can use those from a can. Ideally, you want to get the low sodium ones if you're going to do that. Or you can prepare them, which will take a little bit longer if you get the dry ones, but it will save you some money, and you'll know there's no added salt. Then to this, you add a little bit of tahini, as directed in the recipe. The recipe you can find in the sidebar on the left. Some lemon juice, which can be fresh, or the preserved concentrated lemon juice that you can buy at the store. Then some spices, some cumin and black pepper and parsley and garlic. You can add those in, and then you can mash those beans either with a potato masher, or you could puree them in a food processor, or just mash them with a fork, whatever you like, and that will change the consistency, and then you'll have that ready to go to serve with some crackers and some salad. The second recipe is the Hail to the Kale salad, modified from Chef AJ's recipe. You can watch her make this online if you like. And you start out with some kale, and this does need to be fresh. You want to either dice that if the stems are small, or you can strip that off of the larger stems if you're using some larger kale, and dice that up. And you want to massage the kale, which helps break down the cell walls and release the sweetness, because other times kale can be a little bit bitter, especially if you're not used to it. And you want to add to that some shredded carrots. It can be fresh, or you can get those from the grocery store that are already shredded for you. You can pick up a raw beet and shred that on top of there as well. Then you can use some nuts. They can be whole nuts or seeds, or the sliced almonds. And then you add, for that salad dressing, you use some things like cannellini beans to help with the salad dressing, as indicated in the recipe, combined with either almond butter or peanut butter, a little bit of water, or you can use the coconut water if you prefer, and then some lemon zest or lime zest and lime juice, along with some garlic and ginger and dates to give it some sweetness. And then you can use whatever you happen to have, the coconut liquid aminos, or low sodium tamari, or liquid aminos, depends what you have available. Mix that all up in a blender, and then you can pour that ready to go on the salad. And you have this wonderful salad and hummus that you've made, or you can purchase hummus. And locally here, I recommend the Oasis brand because they have not added oil. Many of the other hummuses have added a lot of oil, so I'd encourage you to read the labels, as we talked about in another session on our website that you can read. But the Wausau crackers are a good, healthy choice, high in fiber, low in the other ingredients that we don't like to include in our food. So Wausau crackers are really a healthy way to go, along with that wonderful salad. So today we want to talk about healthy sleep. We start out with the red flags, and on the left side of the website you can download a checklist of red flags. I want you to ask yourself how many of these that you have in your life, or that you experience with your sleep. Are you sleeping less than 7 or more than 9 hours per night? Is there more than a 1 hour differential between weekdays and weekends? Do you have irregular time or shift work? Do you have poor sleep quality? You don't feel you have time for sleep, or you have difficulty waking up, or morning fatigue. Are there 2 to 3 or more nights per week where you fall asleep early, greater than 8 hours before your wake up time, or more than 15 to 20 minutes? It takes more than 15 to 20 minutes to fall asleep, or you wake up and can't get back to sleep, or are you wakening up less than 7 hours after bedtime? Do you snore loudly? Do you have high blood pressure? If you have any of those, especially if you have more than one, you might have a sleep problem. Our sleep is tightly tied to the circadian rhythm that we have, which is tightly tied to sunlight. We are meant to sleep during the night when it's dark and be alert and active during the day. Our ancestors were people who worked outside. They didn't have shifts. They hunted, they fished, they farmed, they did things like that during the day, and then they slept at night. Healthy sleep helps decrease stress, decreases our blood pressure, helps us metabolize our food in a healthier way. It's when our DNA is repaired, and it's when we remove those damaged cells that could turn into cancer. When we sleep well, we have less anxiety and fear, and we have better stamina and recovery time when we are awake. We also learn better and remember better. On the flip side, poor sleep increases the risk of being overweight because we tend to eat more when we are tired and don't sleep well. It also increases the risk of diabetes and high blood pressure, heart attacks and stroke, and many of our common cancers. Poor sleep also increases the risk of forgetfulness and poor concentration and poor work performance and injuries at work, anxiety and depression. There are 3 main types of sleep disorders and some others that also occur that aren't as common. So we're going to concentrate on these. That first one is called behaviorally induced insufficient sleep syndrome, or BIISS. People with BISS are oftentimes young professionals trying to climb that corporate ladder, graduate students, medical students, people like that, or busy parents who are trying to earn 2 incomes to keep their family afloat. These people don't have time to sleep. They oftentimes use alcohol and caffeine frequently. They have a high-stress job. This oftentimes leads them into depression. Then there's people with what we call primary insomnia. They have difficulty falling asleep, or they wake up during the night and can't go back to sleep. They spend an hour or more just staring at the clock, hoping that they'll fall back asleep. And this is associated with fatigue and tiredness then during the day, and irritability, poor mood, errors and accidents that happen at work or around the house, and other illnesses. Another very common type that's really reached epidemic proportions is this obstructive sleep apnea. It's common with people who are overweight, and it parallels our obesity epidemic in our country. These people, because of the increased fat production in the back of their throat, have a blockage of their airway when they fall asleep, and their jaw tends to fall back, and they have loud snoring. They tend to have high blood pressure and diabetes that may be difficult to control, and partly because of what's happening with their sleep. So what can you do to help get better sleep? Well, other than a healthy diet and physical activity, which are good places to start, you can change your routine for better sleep. So a regular schedule, aiming for about 7.5 hours. Some people a little less, some people a little more, depending on what works for you. But you want to wake up refreshed, not needing to take a nap before noon, or not feeling sleepy before noon. That's a good gauge of having adequate sleep. You want to avoid that caffeine for 6 to 8 hours before bedtime. Now, there's people that say, well, I can drink coffee and go right to sleep. Yes, may be, but it's disrupting your sleep, and it can be measured as abnormal brain waves while you're sleeping, and you're not allowing your body to have that appropriate, healthy sleep time. Same thing with alcohol. People say they can drink their alcohol, helps make them sleepy, but it then disrupts their sleep pattern, puts it into an unhealthy pattern that's really detrimental. Then you want to be hydrated, but not overhydrated. You want to not have to get up 3 times to go to the bathroom during the night, but you want your body hydrated, cup of tea or something like that in the evening before going to bed, and keep your feet warm. That helps you sleep better. There are exceptions for sure. And modify your environment for better sleep by avoiding those electronics in bed and for about an hour before. Exposure to that blue light on the electronics wakes you up and disrupts your body's normal slowdown period getting ready for sleep. You want your room dark and quiet, eliminating that blue light, and you want a cooler temperature at night, somewhere in that 65 to 68 degree range. You'll sleep better. You want a comfortable bed and not a place where you work. Your bed should be for sex and for sleep. It should be a place where your body's winding down. If you train your body that bed is a place to work, then it will wake up when you try to get to bed. We've talked a lot about food in our prior episodes, prior sessions, and we encourage you to move toward that plant-based whole food diet for lots of reasons, including a healthier sleep. So improve your sleep with food. You want to move toward that ideal body weight. I would encourage you to review that lesson on fiber and on the blue zones to get a good idea of what we're talking about when we encourage you to eat foods that are plant-based whole foods, high in fiber and water. And then you want to eat generally a lower carbohydrate meal at night. Now, generally, we don't worry too much about the carbs, but especially if you have a sleep problem, carbs tend to wake you up. It's your morning food full of energy to get you going. So you want to eat a lower carb, low sodium, and a smaller evening meal. Remember where we've said in the past in a fine-tuning session, you want to eat breakfast like a king, breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. You want a smaller evening meal, and you want to avoid those snacks later on after that evening meal. Exercise can help you sleep well. You want to do it at least 90 minutes before bedtime, but exercise after the evening meal, at least 10 minutes. A good brisk walk is good. It will bring that blood sugar down. It will help tire you out and get you ready for a nice night's sleep. And then you begin your evening routine like about an hour and a half before bedtime. You want to get plenty of sunlight during the day, which helps your body set with the contrast that when you do darken the house, it's that signal to the body that bedtime is coming, and begin that wind down routine. Something that's helpful for some people is to prepare for the next day. Plan your breakfast, set up your food for breakfast and for lunch. If you're packing your lunch for work, things like that, you can set out your clothes, and you can make your to-do list for the next day. So when you get to bed, you don't say, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. You've already gone through that. You've set up what you need to do, and your mind is ready to take a break and go to sleep. Sometimes a bedtime bath or shower will help vasodilate you and help relax your muscles and your body. And then there's some relaxation techniques, which we talked about, especially in our stress session, that you can practice if you have trouble falling asleep. You can use one of those to relax and bring on that sleep. That relaxation response in particular is helpful. And then for people who do have trouble with sleeping, even though they've done all these other things, sometimes melatonin is helpful, but not for everyone. You can take about 1 to 6 milligrams about 1 hour before sleep time. Sublingual forms, the ones that dissolve under your tongue, have a quicker onset. The delayed release forms may actually hang over into morning and make you sleepy in the morning, so you should avoid those. And you want to avoid the ones that also include vitamin B6 because they tend to wake you up as well. So you can try that if all else fails. I wouldn't jump to melatonin as your first line treatment. So now it's time to consider some goals to help you sleep better. Maybe you'll say, I will not consume caffeine after 2, Sunday through Thursday. I'll exercise for 10 meals after my evening meal. I'll not use electronics in bed on 5 nights per week. Something along that line. You can download on the left sidebar the goals and the summary of this PowerPoint on sleep. Are you ready for health? I hope so. I hope this has been helpful for you.